Yo, it's Carcat. In the spirit of Season 1's drop this week, today we're going to be covering a really important topic for those of you on the more competitive side, which, based on my recent videos, is probably a lot of you. I'm going to teach you what is, in my opinion, the most broken tech when it comes to climbing the ladder that way too many people overlook. So if you're hard stuck and actually want to improve, then this video is for you. Today, we're talking about competitive mentality. Now, after hearing that, you may want to groan a bit, maybe click off, but unless you're already breezing through every rank no problem, I promise if you implement the stuff we talk about in the next few minutes, you will see massive gains in not just your rank, but you'll probably end up happier too. I know, bold claim, but the goal here is to explain concepts some of you probably already know, some of you may not, that illustrate why mentality is actually the largest contributor to your wins and losses. Not your mechanics, not game balance, not even your teammates.
Hella, you stole my dash reset. I'm dead because of you, Hella. You did this to me.
There are two primary mental hurdles to overcome if you want your mental to stop holding you back. We'll start with the biggest one, tilt. In case your gaming isn't chronic, tilting just means getting upset, and it's usually caused by a loss and directed at anything but yourself. Like, it's just a good game to not rage on. Your teammates suck, the game is unbalanced, the maps are bad, the servers lag, the list goes on and on.
How did I not get my dash reset off the Magneto?
Tilting is extremely normal, and the sheer volume of tilt I've seen recently was my initial motivation for making this video, so it makes sense why it contributes to losing so much.
That was his fucking highlight! It's not a bug! Oh my god.
It's clear we have to fix it, and I can tell you how, but depending on the person, it's not going to be easy. If you find yourself tilting often, you have to start reframing the way you think about the game, and it all starts with understanding the three main types of games. I'm not sure exactly where this originated. I think it's also called the 30-40-30 rule, but the idea is this. There are only three types of games, each type making up a certain percentage of all the games you will ever play. Type 1 games are games you lose no matter what you do. These are the games where you drop 60 kills and the rest of your team goes negative, where your team has a thrower who's running it down for fun, where the enemy team has a smurf, a hacker, you get the idea. Type 2 games are games you win no matter what you do. Your team carries, the enemy team is atrocious, they have a lever. Type 3 games are the games that depend on you. Your individual performance affects whether you win or lose. Maybe you've heard of this before, maybe you haven't, but after explaining it, hopefully it makes sense and maybe even seems a bit obvious. The question is, how do you use this to avoid tilting? The answer? Start identifying these patterns in your matches as quickly as you can, so you can compartmentalize games into one of the three categories and preserve your mental. What does that look like? If you notice a game is looking like Type 1 or Type 2, you stop stressing about it and start mentally preparing to go next. Okay, I missed my dash, so I just disengage, and then let my team kill them all. If you notice a game is Type 3, that's when you lock in the most. Why does this work? Once you can write off a game as Type 1 or Type 2, you free yourself from the mental drain of figuring out how to achieve a certain outcome. You get to save your energy for the Type 3 games that need it the most. This also means once you know a game is Type 1, for example, you can stop hyperfixating on why you're losing, which is also very mentally draining. Just a Namor behind, like...
Are we not gonna shoot the Namor?
I don't think anyone knows he's there.
Nice. Good job, guys. Let's flank more and support and win more games that way. So good.
What support do you think is flanking? Now, you have to be careful because it's easy to misidentify a Type 3 game that depends on you with a Type 2 game that's unwinnable, if you aren't honest with yourself about what you can accomplish or you're just not aware of it. This is a common pitfall, and you should avoid it by setting aside your ego and really trying to understand what's happening during the match. What? Did anyone see that? VOD reviews are especially good for this, to increase your knowledge of the difference between Type 2 and Type 3 games. This is a good segue into one last note about tilt. It's usually accompanied by assigning blame to anything that isn't you.
Alright, well that fucking all sucked.
I don't know what to tell you, brother. Just play solo. Just play solo. You're tilting me.
Let me make a blanket statement about a very well documented aspect of a strong competitive mentality. Never blame anyone or anything but yourself. This might sound harsh, but if you want to minimize your tilt while maximizing your climb, focusing solely on yourself and your mistakes is simply the best way to do it. I'm not saying your teammates won't int your games, but I am saying that it's not your problem, and you shouldn't think about it in any capacity except that which helps you improve. Forget about your teammates, they change every game. If you're not climbing, it's because of you. Now we can move on to the second most common hurdle that usually pops up once you've ranked up a decent bit. Rank anxiety. Simply put, you made it to Diamond, or even to Grandmaster, but you avoid playing more because you don't want to D rank. If you can overcome rank anxiety, that is truly when your potential becomes limitless. And in my experience, you can only get over it one way. Exposure therapy. You need to D-rank. You need to get to Diamond and then lose 10 games in a row. Make it to Grandmaster and fall down to Plat. D-ranking is so important because it's the only scenario where you can prove to yourself that if you lose it, you can get it all back, that you belong in your rank. It's a large part of why so many good players can consistently do unranked to GMs. Not just because they have the skill, but because they know they can do it. Learn to love D-ranking because it will eventually become the foundation of your confidence and belief in yourself. And the majority of success is believing. Get to it.